Thanks everyone for joining me. This is April. I have the Travel Collective where I connect travelers with destination experts. So this is geared towards you if you have a travel book, a travel blog, you write kids books aimed at travel, you lead tours, all of that. We all wanted to share. I wanted to invite Elaine and Lori. They were both at TBEX 2023 with me in Eau Claire. And I invited others, so I may have some add-on videos later to check out, but welcome, Elaine and Lori. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So we'll go around. I'll let you share, Lori, your name. Tell us about what you do in the travel space. Like I mentioned, if you write books, a little bit about yourself and where to find you, which I will also share in the show notes.
Okay, well, like you said, April, I'm Lori Helke. I am from Wisconsin. I have a travel blog called Lori Loves Adventure, and I primarily focus on the over 50 solo female traveler, primarily inspiring them to go to the destinations that I've been to. And I also am a children's book author. I have two children's books published, self-published, and then two camping journals because my books are based on my little real vintage camper, Beatrice. So you can find them just Beatrice the Little Camper on my website, Amazon, wherever. So yeah, my blog is lorilovesadventure.com. And
Nice.
I'm all the socials are there too.
Great. Thanks, Lori. And Elaine.
Yes, I'm Elaine Dixon, and I guess if you've seen me before, it's because I'm one of April's destination experts. So I organize and arrange tours to Morocco, and our company is Sahara Adventures, and you can find us at cometothesahara.com. I also wear another hat because I am the blogger supposedly for our company as well. So I wear that hat as well. And yes, uh, haven't been online that frequently recently with stories of Morocco, but that's what I write about.
Wonderful. Thanks, you guys. So let's go back around a little bit and tell us if this was your first TBEX and why you decided to go to TBEX. So I'll go back to you, Lori.
This was my first TBEX. And I guess the reason why I signed up for it was because I had heard it was one of the best travel conferences to go to. And since this year it was in Eau Claire on the other side of the state for me, and plus I got a deep discount on my ticket, I decided, okay, I'm going to check it out and see what it's all about. And I'm so glad I did. So that's why I attended.
No, I love that. That's great. Elaine?
Yes, well, I guess I had two purposes in keeping with those two hats. So I was really curious about whether anyone blogged about international destinations. And I must say, I've had some sad experiences with people who've tried to write content for me before. So I wanted to just learn what people's interests were, how they approached, partnerships with companies like ours, and to see if I could I guess, pick up some tips for myself as to how I can write in this space. So I was a first timer to TBEX. It was a wonderful conference and a really great experience. So yes, I'll definitely go back to another one.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it was my first TBEX as well. And honestly, I've heard about TBEX in the past when it was kind of geared more towards travel bloggers, but it kind of was a twofer experience. It was in the Midwest in July, a good time to go to the Midwest when it's a lot cooler than Las Vegas. And likewise, just wanted to figure out how to kind of take all the content I've been creating, a YouTube channel, the blog, my website, everything personally and also the collective, and move it forward or get new inspiration or decide how to get it out to more people. So that's really why I went. And thankfully, Barb, who is a personal friend, offering a place to stay and visit her too. So there was really a lot of reasons, right? Wrapped up, it was a good year to go, but I think it was well worth it. So what were some of the sessions we attended? Maybe we can I pulled out my schedule, so if we need me to read off some of the sessions, I can do that. Because it was 2 days full of, there was two pre-days, which we can touch on that a little bit in a minute. But there were also 2 full days of kind of like going to class. I call it like intensive, like go to school kind of stuff. So, Lori, do you have some thoughts on Wednesday, or do you need me to read off what the classes were
Oh
that
my
day?
gosh, I can't even remember what I went to on Wednesday. I
That's
should have my I should have my schedule right here.
That's okay. Do you want
I
to?
mean, I focus more on the business side of it, I guess, this time around, learning about monetizing and so yeah, throw at me what was there on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
on Wednesday, just for our listeners too, the sessions in the morning, you had a choice between traditional media and its impact on social media platforms, what content creators needed to know about Google Analytics 4, and then blogging, what you need to grow with Christopher Mitchell, and then the last option. So there were 4 different choices: building tourism through small ecotourism projects. And that was the first round of classes you could choose from. So anyone want to comment on which one you went to? I don't know if we all ended up in the blogging one or not.
Yeah, yeah, I was in the third class, just to see what was fresh and new and what I could pick up as far as news in the blogging world. So yeah,
Elaine?
Well, and we're in the process of redoing some aspects of our website. So I went to the one about Google Analytics.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, I was quite keen to know, get a heads up if I could about what we should be concerned about in trying to, obviously make our website and our pages rank higher when people do searches for things, all things Moroccan.
Nice. So you feel like you got some things out of that session, the SEO and Google
Mm.
Analytics and
Yeah, I'm not sure that I have a lot of, um, you know, things well to go back to my web designer with. But on the other hand, I'm pretty sure that he's up on Google Analytics, and so I'll have some idea of what he's talking about, or we'll be able to have a more meaningful conversation with him having attended that session.
yeah, nice. Yeah, I went to the blogging one too, and it was a good session, kind of a catch-all about things to improve on blogging, and it's something I definitely need to get back to, both on the travel collective side with all the YouTube content. Each of those YouTube videos could be turned into a blog post, which again, would be rich, full of words that people might search for. And I think the other thing they mentioned too, with AI tied in a little bit to that, is that, Google is going to, the playing field right now might be a little bit more level, where when you Google a certain specific topic, you're seeing some YouTube videos pop up, or you're seeing a blog post about favorite places to stay with a balcony in South Beach, or, wherever it might be. It's those long, keyword segments to focus on. So I think it does speak to the fact that, blogging was important, all of that. I mean, and I liked how the keynote speaker too, she mentioned, like, even if you take away 2 things, starting small and small steps, 2 things, because it can be, now looking at my notes, it is a little bit overwhelming. Like, what did I learn in each
mhm.
session?
It is. It is very much. It's like, oh, I have to look at my notes here.
Yes, yes. And that is important too. If you didn't take notes, they did record everything. But I also noticed, which I didn't even think of, I sat in one session where a gentleman had hooked up his cell phone. He had a little mini tripod, and he literally just was recording it for himself. And no one said, "Oh, you can't do
Mhm.
that." I mean, you're paying to come to the conference, so I loved seeing that. If I maybe brought more memory card or made sure to keep my phone charged or whatnot, I could have just recorded all the sessions as well instead of waiting. I guess some people say it could be a few weeks before we have access to the recorded sessions.
Yeah.
So the second set of sessions, if we want to kind of speak on that a little, was growing your social media through video, Google Analytics 4, again, it was kind of a second part on the morning session, I guess, working with DMCs to create your own tours. And the fourth session was collaborating with travel influencers during national crises. So, anyone want to comment on the session you attended during that segment?
Yeah, I went to the one about growing your business with more videos. So,
Oh, yeah.
like we have really underused video. And I guess part of that is because I'm sitting here in Canada doing all of our marketing and everything. And we need to have, up to the minute videos, which means the man who owns the business in Morocco needs to be shooting more video and either posting it himself or sending it to me so that I can post it. So we need to do a much better job of that because as compelling as Morocco is as a destination to take still pictures, such as you see in the it's far more compelling, obviously, if you have motion uh, and real-time video happening that you're posting. So that's certainly where I'd like to go.
Yeah. Lori?
Yeah, I'm digging into more video myself with, especially with social media. And I went to the same session for many of the reasons that Elaine said. I want to grow and learn how to do that. It was a very interesting session where he did a lot of very short snippets of video with other people. And I mean, I guess I like having people in my videos but for the most part it's usually me because I'm usually by myself. But I just wanted to get some tips from him as far as leveraging video, when's a good time to post on social
Oh, yeah.
media, and what he found successful, is usually in the evenings, like early. I believe he said like 5 p.m. more or less was his time to post. But yeah, I got some good tips out of there as far as things like that. And, and hey, it's okay to use my iPhone, because a lot of people just do their video on iPhones now. So,
There
Yeah.
was an point that came up in that session, though, that I personally think needs more exploration in a separate session, maybe at another conference. And um, people asked questions about getting permission to post video when there are other people in the video. And there were also copyright issues raised around the use of music. Um, and so, in other words, you can't just post things and assume that because people are, having a good time, that they're willing to have themselves uh, posted in social media, especially when they're, bystanders and they're not the center of attraction or the thing that you're actually trying to video. And so there are very good reasons why you should be very careful about posting videos that include people who are not really the center of attention. Just because it's a public setting doesn't mean that you have permission to just post pictures of anyone. And likewise with music, yes, there's stuff that's available in the public domain, but you have to be careful to make sure that that is what you're using, and not just not breaking copyright by using music that is actually owned by someone else.
Yeah, that would
yeah,
probably be a good add-on session because I think right, you're right, Elaine. Especially when you're talking about international travel. A lot of things that our travelers are doing and our bloggers and YouTubers, you may not if you're from America, we do kind of have this attitude now where, oh, if you're out in public, it's okay. But on the other hand, I don't think so. I mean, I've run into instances personally in New England, even where, I saw some kids playing and it was at a public outdoor, say, museum. And I hesitated, number one, but number two, I asked, and the woman said, she's like, well, no, what are you doing with that? Which is a fair question, when you're involving children, or you don't know what that person's position is, or their take on privacy or any of that. So it is important to ask. And if you are using video, which I think is very powerful, back to your point a little, Lori, it's okay to only to do scenics and yourself, turn the camera on yourself and say, hey, here I am experiencing this, but to proceed with caution a little bit more with others, you know, in the video, because again, rightly so, you know, they may not feel the same. And
Well, he
culturally,
pointed out that he had been asked to take a video down because it turned out that there was a guy in the video who had called in sick from work. And in fact, here he was out at this public party. And so, you know,
yeah,
they do some damage to somebody by virtue of posting this video of this person who is supposed to be somewhere else.
yeah,
Yeah, that was one thing that really struck me too, Elaine, about the privacy part of it. When I'm shooting video, like for instance, a couple weekends ago, I was in a candy store up in northern Wisconsin, and it was the cutest place. It was a house, and it was like each room had candy and like a theme, and it was really cool. But there was quite a few people there and kids, and I'm like, well, I can't really film much video here because I don't want to put children in my
yeah,
video. And so I ended up doing a time lapse of me just kind of going from room to room. And that way you couldn't really see anybody, it was just me. It was just, but it was like, it's a question that I don't like the idea of just filming somebody. I was, yeah, skeptical in that about that too.
yeah. And that could probably have an old, like you said, kind of its own session, even on
Yes,
Mhm.
multiple levels.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. I went to the working with DMCs to create your own tours, and honestly, I'm like, I'll have to look back at my notes. I'm not sure how much I gained from it. I kind of understand the value of working with DMC means destination marketing. Do you know, Lori, what the C stands for?
Yeah.
Coordinator?
Um,
Is it like a coordinator? A DMC?
uh, I'm not really sure about that myself. There's
I
so many acronyms.
Right, exactly. It's like I'll have to pull my notes out. But essentially it's contacting, like if you're thinking about maybe creating a trip to somewhere like for me that I have not really scouted, working with someone maybe off the tourism board to help give input or give me suggestions of where to go or maybe open some doors that might not normally be open. So there was some value in that session as well, and for others that are creating their own tours, because you can create something specific that's to your personality. You know, if you love beer and cheese, I mean, you could do a whole Midwest beer and cheese tour for those interested in that. I mean, there's a lot of thematic type things, and I think our travelers are actually, and Elaine knows this too from just some of our Let's Talk Travel events, travelers are looking for something that is unique or different or that incorporates other interests besides just, hey, I'm going to see these great places on this trip or this tour. They're getting a little bit more sophisticated in their wants. You know, they want to take a cooking class or they want to meet the woman that's raising alpacas and have an interest in the yarns and the weaving. So I think there's a lot of open doors there for tour creators, that it's not, I think, again, what I've preached forever and ever is there can be lots and lots of tours to, say, New England, which is an area I specialize in, or even Morocco where Elaine goes, or if Lori was doing Midwest tours, but no two tours are going to be the same, and you can actually look for niches that aren't being covered and have a really good market. I mean, travel, as we're seeing, the numbers are speaking. The travelers are, you know, for women, there's a lot of women travelers out there, and I know we're all women on this panel today, but that's a huge, you know, market of tapped potential for travel dollars. And I think even with the economy right now, which is causing a shift, people are choosing to spend their money on essentials, of course, food and their basics, but then they're cutting down on like going to stores and buying clothes that they've realized during the pandemic that, they don't need as many outfits and clothing choices or those things. They'd rather have the experiences. So I do think we're going to continue to see big areas of opportunity for those that want to write about travel or lead tours, any of that.
I think that, especially from what I've seen on the CVB side of it, being a board member for a destination, um, and I'm speaking like from the younger, the younger generation, the 20s and 30s, they're more interested in experiences than things. And so the data is showing that they're going out in force and traveling very differently, not going necessarily to like Disneyland. They are hiking and biking and kayaking and doing a lot of outdoor things. So it's great to see a shift in those experience kind of travelers.
Yeah, that's a nice perspective, Lori, too, from the convention side that people are
Yeah.
looking
Yeah,
for.
I'm very lucky because I get both sides of the coin.
So
Yeah.
I have to ask, how did you get on the convention visitor board? That's great.
Well, I have a very good relationship with people at Visit Sheboygan, which is right near me. And so I was asked early this year if I would want to be a part of their board of directors because they wanted to get like fresh perspective. They were switching out their board members from like city officials to more, like most of them are made up of like the hotel industry, where's what they get their dollars from. But like places like the Kohler Art
Oh,
Preserve by
yeah.
us, and myself, and I was honored because I enjoy seeing that part of the business too, because it is a business, and it makes me understand that side of it a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
great. Yeah, I
it's
like
cool.
that. That's very cool. So let's see, the end session was the end of that day was video storytelling, pitch to paycheck, using your niche to land paid collaborations, how to stand out to brands, and secure sought after podcast sponsorships, and blending strategy and passion projects. I mean, all of these topics are really great. I wish I had recorded them on my own phone. I'm going to look forward to the recordings. So, which ones did you go to in that session?
I
That
went to video
should
storytelling. Yeah. Sorry, Laurie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I went to the pitch to payback one, specifically because of being from the blogger side, monetizing, how to pitch destinations to get collaborations and getting paid to actually, because I mean, when it comes down to it, we're a business and we still need to get paid for what we do. And, in my space, the blogging part of it, I, getting paid is all over the board. And so it was addressed with a company called Sherpa, which matches destinations with bloggers or content creators. And then they had two people from CVBs on the board, one from La Crosse and one from Stevens Point. And so they talked about what they look for in a relationship with a content creator. And the thing that I took away the most is they want to build relationships with those people, which is the part that I love about it. It's not so much seeing how many destinations you can get to. It's building a long-term relationship with them. And then, they might invite you back over and over and over again. And maybe, you might get chances to do freelance work on the side or whatever. But that was one of the sessions that I was most looking forward to because it is such a broad, oh my gosh, everybody makes money as many. There's so many ways. So yeah.
Yeah. What did you say, Elaine? Which one did you go to?
If I remember right, I went to the video storytelling.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, again, that was kind of a continuation of the, well, not from the speaker's point of view, but from my point of view, that was kind of a continuation of my interest in exploring how we can do video more effectively and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, it's some of the basics about your role on the camera, but then let the people, let the subject, let the event tell the story. And that actually means you have to know what the story is. So it's not just pointing your camera at something and letting it roll, but what is it that you're picking out to make meaning about, and what do you want to say about it? What can you get other people to say? Those are the things that tell a story.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff that day. Um, Anything else we want to comment on Wednesday overall?
It was just great to be a part of and to learn. I'm so glad that they decided to record every session because, I want to go back and watch everything.
Yeah, I think so too, even though I took notes. I mean, just going back and seeing the name of the topic, it's like if now I can sit down and actually digest it again. So I think the recordings alone are worth it. And another takeaway as a first timer that I got from like just Wednesday itself is we had coffee breaks, we had lunch breaks. There were opportunities to, just go get in line next to somebody and start a conversation and just chat with someone at lunch, find a new table and just everyone I encountered just seemed really, really welcoming and open. I mean, because there were all of us here are first timers, and there were people there that had been there like 10, 15 times to these TBEX conferences, and yet they seemed just as willing to just chat and share and ask us like, hey, what are you doing in the travel space? And how did you
Yeah.
guys find that too, or?
Very much so.
Yeah, yeah, it was a great way to meet people and to connect and like you said, it was everybody was so welcoming and friendly and willing to share, what they do, how they do it, and yeah, it was great.
Nice. Shall we talk a little bit about Thursday's session?
Yeah.
All right. So Thursday, kind of the same format. We had like four different classes, it looks like. We had the first session was how to win with drones, advanced SEO, email marketing beyond the newsletter, and be a long-term relationship instead of a one-night stand, which was kind of like working with, I think, marketing and destination. So anyone want to share which one you went to?
Um, I did the email marketing one. Leslie's a good speaker and she's an expert at so I was excited to listen to her. Um, yeah, because I know I need to up my email game after that. I found it very interesting how she built segments and targeted, like had certain opt-ins, like five, she recommended starting with 3 to 5 opt-ins for different audiences to grow your email list where, she used that example of we put out there, oh, this is a packing list for your opt-in and covering all the bases, which I have like a travel planning check sheet, for my opt-in, but yeah, so in fact, I just finished my first
Oh, nice.
opt-in. Yeah, so I have to, I'm in the process of creating my 3 to 5 for those targeted email sign ups and probably shifting my email. But yeah, it was really interesting, and I will definitely be rewatching that so I did take a lot of notes, a lot of screenshots, from the slides and stuff. But yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, I like that, Lori, and I like that already. It's only Tuesday, and most of us probably got home like Friday, Saturday, and you're already like putting things into action. I love that.
Mhm. Yep, yep.
Elaine.
Yeah, I went to the same session, and because I know that I don't make good use of our email list, and part of that I must admit is my own reticence. I don't want to snow people with unwanted emails, and so the trick is to find out or to figure out how to send them high value messages so that they don't mind hearing from you. And we're still guilty. We've got that button on the website that says, click here to sign up for our newsletter. And after the session, I'm really thinking I should just take that off because, like, I don't know, I don't think we've ever had anyone click that button. But the other thing too is, like, the main way that I generate email anyway is by marketing ourselves at travel shows. So I go to the travel trade shows and talk to people and do draws and things like that and get email leads that way. And so it's really, I view those as being the high value leads. And those are the people that I should be carefully nurturing with better targeted, high value approaches similar to what we learned about in the session. So that was a good learning, really. I got some good motivation from that.
Yeah, I actually was at the same session and kind of that same thing is like, and trying to build the email. Like I have two different email lists. I have one for like the collective and the travelers. And so it's, again, coming up with maybe different magnets to get them to sign up, continuing. I know I always share how at all of the events that I host that where we are quote selling our tours or promoting our books, that we are collecting those interested people's emails and continuing. Again, what's the right pace? There's always questions of trying to make sure we're delivering value when we do re-email them, but continuing to keep them in the loop because I do see that it's effective. That part I do definitely see. Just like I did a short email out to my personal list yesterday and got responses from people I hadn't heard from in a while. So that's always encouraging that they are looking at something, or at least at least they see it pop in their inbox. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I would like to
Yeah.
see some of the other sessions. I'm thinking there's probably something to take away from SEO and maybe the long-term relationship. I'm not ready to work with drones personally. I think that's a whole new skill. I think there's still so much to do just with your cell phone camera and collecting what you can. I mean, drones is on another level for a lot of us.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So the next group of sessions, it was resilience, telling compelling stories through photography, future of AI with SEO in SEO, how to make crazy money with affiliate marketing, and the last one, leading the trail in DMO and influencer partnerships. And once again, I'll admit I went to the how to make money with affiliate marketing on your blog because again, I've had a blog, I've had a YouTube channel, I've had a lot of things, and I'll be flat out honest, none of it is making me money that some of these people purported to make in their sessions. I thought Shelly, she said she was a first-time speaker. I thought she was very motivating. I loved her honesty and I loved some of her direct tips. I don't know if you guys went to that same session. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Which one did you go to, Elaine?
If I remember right, I went to the advanced, I was interested in the AI thing and SEO. So kind of the same as my previous comment. I have something to talk about with my web developer person now. But I have some issues with the AI use. And it sounds like the developers of AI in this space and use with Google and so on, they themselves are still figuring it out and playing around. And so I'm reluctant to really jump on that until I really see how it shakes out. And if I were to put on my blogger hat, I really am concerned about AI and the devaluation of the role of the human being generally. I still think that when I talk to travelers, what they value is talking to me because I've been there, and AI will never be there. So it'll never be in Morocco, and so I know that they talked about how you can use AI just to get started with your blogs and so on, and that you go back and you fact check and all of that stuff. And that's all fair. But at the same time, I really think that this is still in the early stages, and I don't see us jumping on board with that right away.
Yeah, good comments, good input. Lori.
I went to the making money affiliate marketing. I'm all about making the money.
Yeah, that's all right.
And
I hear you.
yeah, I agree. She did an awesome job of it, like explaining it and, using actionable, I have ads on my site. And I also have ads in my sidebar, and I also do some other affiliate marketing. But I thought it was so helpful that she said to target, those that are ready to buy versus, putting hotel affiliate links into 10 great things or why you should go visit New York City, because it's not, they're just there for reading interest, dipping their. And so that was really, oh my gosh, that was an eye opener. And it's like, no wonder I'm not making any money from affiliate marketing, because I don't do that. And actually writing blog posts geared to that, to putting the right affiliate links and stuff in your blog. So yeah, that was a really good one.
And I want to interject, Lori. I'm so glad you accepted my invitation. I know it was kind of last minute to join this today because I would like to get a panel of bloggers, and that's my goal to hit up because I think, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I would love to pay the right blogger to have a little ad on something that matches. Maybe it's fall travels. Maybe it's an area that I specialize in, and it may be speaking for others I know, but I do know others as well that could benefit, whether they're leading bicycle tours or they're leading,
Mhm.
a cooking retreat. I think there is true value for us to pay someone like you to have a little ad. And it's a matter, though,
Mhm.
of us finding you guys and you, the blogger, being open to, what does that look like? Is that a little sidebar ad? Is that, placement? How much you feel it's worth based on your traffic numbers and your audience? Because again, I think that
Mhm.
plays a lot too. Like I know my audience, I know who my clientele is. I'm going to want a blogger that's kind of speaking to that audience because you're right, they're already there. They may see value in that. So that's something I
Oh,
hope to work
absolutely.
something I hope to work on is attracting more bloggers like you and having that conversation, and maybe you as well. You're going to earn money from those of us that are eager, and it's going to
Right.
be reoccurring income. It's
Right. And it's only beneficial for a blogger standpoint to, yeah, know where to put that. You don't just slap an ad down
yeah,
and, okay, well, just let's see the money come rolling in, because it doesn't. And I mean, holy cow, crazy money, like six figures from affiliate ads. I was like, oh. So yeah, it's important. It's important to learn from both standpoints where we can put those ads and who you can target and who you
right.
can, you know, yeah.
Right.
So
And that
it
helps
was a
you.
great session.
Yeah, and I think that in itself, I mean, it can offset your expenses because I honestly have paid bloggers to pay, say it costs you $300 to keep your website going roughly for a year. I'm okay with paying the right blogger that
Hmm.
$300. That is a
Right,
drop in the bucket if I'm getting traffic and return on that. And
right.
if you get a few of those and you know that it's, beneficial to put it here, and I see that
Mm.
yes, I'm getting traffic, I'm getting clients, you might have my business long term. We're talking
Right.
5 years, 6 years. And again, that automatically covers one bucket of your expenses, which is kind of nice.
Yes, yeah. Because we all know we have lots of web development,
Yes.
and like I'm a one woman show, so I pay for everything. I design my website, pay for everything, and
Right, right, exactly.
it's expensive. It's expensive.
Well, and just your time too of creating the
Yeah,
content to keep an active blog and to keep an active audience. That's time is money.
right. Exactly.
So let's see. We made it down. The last. Let's see. The next session was driving YouTube traffic, adapting to the AI revolution, internal systems versus outsourcing to grow your business, and tips and tricks for small DMOs. Elaine, which session did you go to?
Well, I actually split my time. I did start in the YouTube one, and again, the theme there. Uh, we don't have a YouTube channel. Um, I don't know if I want to go there, but on the other hand, I'm not really happy with what we're doing in other social media spaces, and so it might be time to drop some and focus on something like YouTube. So I was just kind of curious to just take in what the opportunity might be there. And then the other one I went to was the, working collaboratively with the small DMOs, because I am a DMO. So I wanted to see what bloggers' interests were in potentially working with me. I wanted to hear what they were being told about how to approach people like me and how to work
Oh,
with
nice.
us.
So
Yeah,
did you get some tips and takeaways from that? Since
I did. I think they could have been given better advice. So, they're running sessions like how you can make six figures. And you know what? You're not going to make six figures if you don't deliver on my strategy, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Only way I'm going to advertise with you is if you return on my investment, meaning I have to get qualified leads. Okay. So I don't expect you to deliver business. That's for me to do. It's up to me to turn a lead into a trip. But if I'm advertising with you, I better get leads and they better be good ones. And so that means that you have to understand my business strategy and what things are and are not going to work for me, what your content has to be, and how it has to work with the ad that I'm placing. And if there's a disconnect there, I won't be back.
right, right. Yeah, good stuff, which I think that like you pointed out and I just mentioned too, Elaine. I think it's we can pull maybe from the list of bloggers that went, having that conversation, having that session kind of on our own, direct, and
Mhm.
maybe potentially people would meet some connections and maybe not, because I think it does really boil down to being choosy. I mean, I've tried a couple different bloggers, and like I said, I've had really bad, like, it's not worth it. I wish I might as well have just thrown that 300 out the window, or, taken
Yeah.
that money and used for a plane ticket on my own time and gotten my own content. But versus a very, very long term relationship I've had with a really good blogger that I do get really, I mean, that's been paid for in spades. And I'm really happy about that.
Mhm.
Which session did you go to, Lori?
I went to the AI session.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah, and that I have been using AI for probably since February or March. I mean, we've all been using AI to some degree through editing software, whatever, for a while. But I had heard about ChatGPT and Jasper, and I thought, sometimes I have real issues with writing blocks and imposter syndrome and stuff. And so, honestly, AI has helped me tremendously. I can't even tell you. I mean, will pop in like a a keyword, and give me a list of 10 blog posts possibly that I could write for this keyword, and it'll bloop, 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 bloop,
Oh, wow.
and that gives me a clear idea, and then I can craft an outline with the help of AI. So I'm very much pro AI. Am I pro as far as it writing my content? No, because like Elaine said, I'm not going to write about a destination I've never been to. You
Mhm.
know, it's my travel writing is storytelling, basically. And I love to tell those stories, but we also have the other side of the coin where we need to pull people in and get readers in order to monetize.
Mhm.
So, it's very important to also write for SEO and, all these other things. So, AI can help tremendously for that. For instance, this morning, like I said, that I was crafting my first opt in. So I was working on a car camping opt in, and I wanted a list of supplies that you needed. And so I put that. Now I pay for ChatGPT, I have the paid version, and it's hands down, I mean, it's great. It's great. So I just popped in, give me some supplies, and I got all these supplies. And when I wasn't totally satisfied with that list, I prompted it to give me more, like things I need for sleeping. So I went over it, I edited it, I added things that I have, and my little things, and I have my opt in. So, it's helped me in social media posts and like coming up with titles for blog posts. It's just stick my sometimes those little details like store details, restaurant details, kind of like are tedious to me. So I will ask them and then give me website phone numbers, things like that, and it'll put it all in a list. Of course, I always go back because it's not right. It's not always right. You always have to check, is that the right phone number, is that the right test web addresses and everything else. So yeah, it has made my life easier. I know a lot of people just treat it like a virtual assistant, gives all those things to chat gpt versus things that you would spend hours doing. So it's helped me tremendously.
Yeah,
Mhm.
nice. Yeah, I went to the YouTube traffic to your website. So again, more of those tips on collecting emails or collecting, because again, the whole idea that we forget sometimes is that these platforms are rented space. If YouTube decides to change things, even though we have subscribers over there, if they're not also following us over to our newsletter, or if we're not collecting their email address, it's nice to have those numbers over there, but they could just all poof disappear. And then, if something changes, we no longer have those followers or they've lost track of us. So I got some tips from that. I thought that was helpful. So let's talk a little bit about speed networking, which is also a part of TBEX and something that was a little new for me as far as going to a conference. I hadn't really had this be part of a conference.
Well, okay, I'll go
Yeah,
first.
share.
I did not sign up for any of the speed networking because I am really leery about it's like, oh my gosh, I can't put myself out there. It's really hard for me to sit down at a table with somebody that I don't know and, go through the thing. It's like, oh my gosh. But so what I still did, because there were destinations that I still really wanted to talk to. So I would, if I walked past a table and they were somebody that I wanted to connect with, I just sat down and said, hey, do you have a few minutes? And then I, talk. And so I made all the connections that I really wanted to, which was good. But then, there was plenty of time in between too. So, but that was a scary thing for me. That speed networking thing.
Elaine,
So,
Elaine, did you have some thoughts on it?
Well, no, and so I didn't sign up for any speed networking uh, appointments either, because again, I'm a destination. And many of the destinations who were signed up, of course, were US states and communities and things like that. So it was appropriate for them. I mean, all of the bloggers there, many of them, were really focused on different American destinations. So it wasn't appropriate for me, in that context. The only thing I did do is at one point Viator had a couple of seats where nobody was there, so I did sit down and chat with them because we have had an opportunity to sell our services, our trips, and so on through Viator, and we haven't. So it was an opportunity for me to sit down and tell them why and ask them some questions and give feedback. And in turn, they took my name and contact information and have promised to put someone in touch. So,
Oh,
um,
nice.
yeah,
yeah,
that's
without getting
awesome.
into a lot of detail, it's just there were issues around the pricing of your trips that appear on TripAdvisor and the amount that they take and the need to align what's there with your website. And we could never charge on our website what we'd have to charge on Viator.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Mhm.
um, but anyway, aside from the fact that it wasn't really relevant to me, I think that that kind of event at a conference is incredibly valuable because, so much depends on relationships, but it's also very personal stuff too. And so you really need to sit down with a person and sell yourself, but also be clear, about what you can do for the other party and what you expect from them. And so I really see the speed networking as a high value kind of activity at conferences.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. I think there, and I think it could be something that we could potentially take and maybe copy on Zoom as far as pairing some of our destinations. Um, Speaking along the lines of Elaine, since I kind of wear lots of hats, but one of them, of course, is I do lead tours to specific destinations and want to pair with a blogger. I did sign up for some speed networking because I did go through the list, and there were some places that I will have additional sessions on. One of them was something called Sherpa, which I know Lori just spoke a little bit about Sherpa and potentials there for people. So I'll have a separate video on that. They've agreed to come and do a Zoom and answer questions and kind of
Awesome.
walk through. I just set up a Zoom account. I mean, not a Zoom, a Sherpa account, but I have some questions. It's a little, again, wearing multiple hats. Again, how to use this platform from multiple angles. And the other one was something called Braid, which I know I encouraged Elaine and Christine, who isn't with us today, but was at the conference with us. Um, I had Elaine and Christine also go over to this thing called Braid, which works, so it looked like with Instagram and some of your other socials. Again, the whole idea of collecting these emails or contact information, even phone numbers, because you may have noticed, like, if you signed up for, like, say, a rewards program for Staples or Cost Plus or many retailers, they now send you a text message if they have a sale or a grocery coupon. So, again, it's taking potential customers and moving them onto into your sphere, into something that you can keep and control, your own real estate that you own, versus being on a borrowed, rented platform, which could disappear. TikTok could disappear, Twitter, many of these other platforms have come and gone. So, again, moving people off that and getting them into your sphere. So, talk to someone at Braid. Again, I'm going to have them come on. And the other one was Sherpa Braid, and there was another one. I'm trying to remember who it was. There was a third one. Might have been Viator and Seat. Was it Seat 22 or
Stay 22.
Stay
822.
22? Thank you. Stay 22. I don't know why I keep wanting to call it Seat 22 like it's an airline when it's basically affiliates with like lodgings and different things. But again, if you have a blog or written content, another way to collect some affiliate money without maybe having to sign up for all those other affiliate programs or some of these affiliate programs I know Cindy and I had looked into too. You have to have a minimum number of views or so many watch hours. And Stay 22 is kind of different in that regard. So again, I'm working with on Stay 22. I'm working on the links and embedding them into stuff I have. And so again, I'm kind of baby stepping in that, but Fusa has a contact. She was the one at the conference. I spoke at length with her, but then I've already had an email response that they're going to set something up. So there'll be a video and possibly a Zoom where I can invite those that want to directly ask questions and maybe have their laptop open with what do I do now? Where do I embed this? Because there's things with maps and making a map that might be going with a destination you've created. And then the customer can, if they go through and pick a hotel while they're reading your blog, perhaps you could get some affiliate money back. So again, why not make a little money on content you're already writing? So some good stuff there. So yeah, I think speed networking, although it was a little intimidating and some of the destinations may not have matched, I think that's a good concept. And it was definitely a huge add-on, and especially for some of these sponsors, new platforms, new technologies that can interface with all of us. So something there. Um, what I also wanted us to share was costs, like how you felt the cost. And I know some of you have gone to other conferences, what you felt for value. We all had to pay to go to the conference. Some of us had additional expenses like airline or lodging, those types of things, depending on how many days you were at this particular conference. But Lori, do you want to share a little bit of how you felt about the cost and if you felt value per cost?
Yeah, I felt that I haven't been to a lot of conferences and I've been lucky to get discounts on my tickets usually. But even with that, I would say that it's of high value conference. And like I was talking to somebody from TBEX and they said that this is a relatively inexpensive conference compared to some of the travel conferences out there. So, I mean, yeah, I think it was well worth it. Now, I just need to pay for my gas money to get the other side of the state. And I picked probably one of the cheapest hotels I could find, because I'm always whatever I can save money at. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. I think it was well worth it and well worth the cost.
Yeah, great. Elaine.
Yeah, I agree. I was fortunate to take advantage of April's early bird discount and everything. So I'm grateful for that. And coming from Canada, I elected to drive, so I turned it into kind of a mini vacation for me, so that I could drive through parts of the U.S. that I hadn't been through before. So really, that's also a very economical way of getting to and from a conference. I know that it's not the fastest thing. Obviously, flying is the fastest thing to do, but I had a wonderful drive in both directions, so that was great. I thought that the conference was high value. I learned things, and if you look at the cost of the actual conference and the 2 days and the number of sessions that you get to go to, I mean, that's it's really high value for the information that you're able to get from all of those sessions. And then, of course, there's the incidental connections that you make with people during coffee breaks and social events and things like that. And those are such high value. So you have to be there, It's one of these things where success is tied to actually going and being there, being present and meeting people, putting yourself out there. Meeting people, because we're all doing the same thing. We're all trying to meet each other on the same terms. And so I thought it was a very high value experience. And I've been to lots of conferences, both within and outside the travel sphere. So this was a very good experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to echo, I felt the same. I mean, given the discount when you compare it to other travel conferences that I've seen advertised that I've thought about going to, this one's considerably less. And I know we didn't even touch on the 2 days that they included prior to the conference. If you chose to come in early, I mean, there were activities that included your lunch or what I was told, like somebody you could sign up for a 5 course dinner in the evening. I mean, the cost of that versus I mean, you made back your money. And the 2 days we were actually at the Pablo Center where they held the conference, which was a beautiful venue. I mean, they had coffee all day. They had beer, I believe. They had um, a Bloody Mary bar. They had donuts that you would have spent a couple dollars each for easily at any bakery. We all know coffee now is going for $3 or so a cup. They had lunch. They had other treats. I mean, I really feel when they included your meals like that and all the opportunities then that they really built in as far as meeting other people at the conference, I would say it was very well worth the money I spent. So, any tips or thoughts for anyone that might be watching that's thinking about going to a TBEX conference? Because we do know they have North America conferences, which they did just announce. The next year's North America will be in Puerto Rico in July, but they also have the Spain conference in May, and I think they're also do one in, I want to say South America or maybe
South Africa.
South Africa. Thank you, Lori.
Well, I would say anybody who's hesitating, just do it. The connections, I mean, to me, that's what it's all about, the connections. And, I mean, I got to meet you ladies and plus a whole, that you never would have met before. And I think when you have those connections and talk to people from every background and every experience and the destinations and sit down and have a drink and have these conversations, it's to me it's like priceless. What I took away was priceless. I made some great friends, I made some great connections, and yeah, you're not going to get that when you're sitting at home in front of your computer 27, 24/7, because we have kind of a lonely life sometimes, at least from the blogger end, just sitting pounding away every day. But yeah, it's invaluable. It really is.
Mhm. Yeah.
Elaine.
Well, I would echo those comments. I think that the value that you get is what you make of it. If you go to a conference and don't talk to anyone and whatever, well, you're not going to get value. But if you can, look at Puerto Rico, for example. If you're blogging primarily about American destinations, I'm sure that that's going to be a high value conference. What about Spain? Again, if you're somebody who blogs about international destinations and you're widely traveled, I can't imagine that that's not going to be a high value conference. I know I'm going to go because, for Morocco, that's absolutely going to be high value. And I hope people going to Spain will come over to Morocco on their way either before or after that conference. But I mean, seriously, you need to kind of match the destination, let's say, to the kind of blogging or the kind of work that you do. And it's just hard to imagine that they're not going to be high value. These are all international conferences. And so, again, they spread out the destinations with the intention of really giving you an opportunity to meet the right people to make your business flourish and, discover some new destinations along the way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it was super exciting for people who hadn't been to the Midwest maybe before, and I wish Christine would have been able to join us today. I mean, Eau Claire really rolled out the red carpet. I mean, showcasing what they had to offer and the value they got as the host city is they had all of these people, a couple hundred people that like to write about travel, take pictures, video. I mean, and you just think of that spreading out now. We're all going to be sharing our happy memories, our where we ate, where we stayed, what there is to see and do in that area. And I think that is a huge benefit for all involved. And just like you mentioned, Lori, just like you said, many of us sit in front of our computer when we're not traveling, and it's like there's no way I can make the same quality connections that I was making in 2 really jam-packed, well, actually 3 to 4 days, depending on how many of the pre-activities you took part in. in
I'm sorry.
person.
I'm sorry to break in. I have to leave to join another call,
Okay.
but sorry about
No, no,
that.
no.
But
I'm going to wrap up. So thanks, Elaine.
yeah,
Thanks for
thanks very
joining.
much. Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate the opportunity. Nice to see you again, Lori. Take care.
Bye, Elaine.
Bye-bye.
So we encourage everyone to join. I'll have more content coming up. I'll let anyone that's seen this video, there'll be links and emails going out to let you know if you want to join the Sherpa discussion and learn a little bit more about. And I'm going to get it wrong. It's Stay 22 and braid because I
Yes,
think those are three things. Just in me playing with it, I got super excited. It's taking me a little bit, and once you start to set up these accounts, then you realize like, wait, I could. How do I do this better? So. But I think getting on
yeah,
board with some of these platforms early can be really key because later once they grow some of those things end up charging, so if you can get in on the ground floor I kind of feel like you might have a better foot in the door. So
right. And I'm a Sherpa creator. I don't know if you
yay.
know that.
No, did you sign
Yeah,
up before the conference?
oh yeah, I've been probably about a year and a half, almost 2 years. I haven't done many collaborations just because a lot of the requests come through in summer, and in summer my calendar's pretty much full. But I did talk to them, like Hannah, and she said that there's going to be more with the Christmas season and the fall season and stuff. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, Stay 22, had to work with them because I've done maps before and put them in, but they helped me out quite a bit last when I was there last week because I needed help with integrating some of their stuff. It's not easy,
Right.
but
Had so you
yeah.
signed up for Stay 22 also before the conference?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it had been recommended to me from other bloggers. Like a
Oh,
lot of them speak very highly of Stay 22 as far as monetizing. So I'm always like, okay, what's this? Let me try this out. So I
yes.
played around with it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I created some maps and uh,
Okay. Yeah, because
pretty
that's just
cool.
it. I'd kind of heard about it, but I hadn't like gotten on board and then talking to them at the conference, which I think is, if anyone's interested, go on to, I'll put the link so people can look at those before the Zoom calls, because hopefully I'll get those scheduled in the next week or so. Because it does help
Hmm.
if you at least go on the platform and start baby stepping, because then you'll know what your questions are. Because just
Right.
like Sherpa to you, Lori, like you do have to create some of your own, like, what do you call them? Trips?
Adventures.
Adventures.
Yeah, they're called adventures, which is a totally different format. I like it. It's more map based, and then like each stop is a one or sentences, and then you have a photo requirement and stuff, and it's kind of a cool platform and a great way for particularly new bloggers to get their feet wet and to get introduced to certain, because there's destinations signing on every day. I'm getting notifications
Oh,
that
wow.
this destination is coming and this does. When I signed up, they're based in Minnesota, but when I signed up, they started branching out into Wisconsin, and they actually got in touch with me and asked me to sign up for the platform.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a very interesting format. Um, but yeah,
No, that's what I meant. You almost have to, though, once you sign up for Sherpa, you have to create your 2 to 3 adventures or something before you'll get to see any of the paid opportunities, collaborations.
right, right, yeah, yeah, and that can be of anything, any trip you've done, and it's fairly
Fairly straightforward then.
just so so
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Lori, for your time, and I'll share Lori's links and Elaine's links if anyone has questions. You can contact Lori direct or Elaine, and then we hope you'll join us for our Zoom conferences that we run with Sherpa, Stay 22, Braid, and some of these other platforms that might be new to you that you can integrate into what you're doing. So, thanks everyone.